Hey you Stygian dogs, it's November 29th, and this marks the release of issue number 5 of the critically acclaimed Conan the Barbarian from Heroic Signatures and Titan Comics. We see Roberto De La Torre and Dean White step out of the limelight, and Doug Braithwaite and Diego Rodriguez given a chance to shine in Jim Zub's second story arc. Before jumping into the issue, we'll take a look at the available variant covers and those that I chose to purchase. But before we do that, I think you might be interested in checking out this crowdfunding campaign. From crowdfunding platform Zoop, Conan the Barbarian Colossal Edition by John Buscema, Barry Windsor-Smith, Gil Kane, and others. Conan the Barbarian Colossal Edition features 190 plus pages of full-size 12 by 17 scans of the original comic art pages pulled from throughout the original classic run of Conan comics and magazine. Gathered into one beautiful hardcover for the first time ever, explore the timeless works by legendary Conan artists John Buscema, Barry Windsor-Smith, Gil Kane, and a host of others in the most vivid detail possible. In collaboration with Zoop, we present 2 special covers by Jim Lee and John Buscema, a wraparound cover, with a limited amount signed by the legendary Roy Thomas. And we'll see the current status of the campaign, number of supporters, and days left. Looking at the rewards, $150 for the Jim Lee cover or the John Buscema cover, $200 for a signed by Roy Thomas John Buscema cover. There's a number of add-ons, bundle customization, and the book itself. I'll leave it to you to check out the campaign. It's a great opportunity to own a great book with some great works at what seems to be a really decent price. I'll be sure to include a link to the campaign in the video description. From the release of this video, you'll have about 2 weeks to participate in the crowdfunding campaign and grab what looks to be a splendid Conan art book. I'll likely have to bow out of this one. That's what happens when you opt to buy an expensive action figure. Moving on, here's what you'll see hit the store shelves. Cover A is by Mike Deodato. Cover B is from Patch Zircher. Cover C from Rebecca Puebla, Belit portrayed as if from a silent film. And cover D by Roberto De La Torre, and the brilliant cover E from Liam Sharp. Now let's take a look at what I grabbed. So I was able to grab all variants again, starting with cover A is the Mike Deodato. And the colors just pop on the Patch Zircher cover. He's going to do 4 related covers over the next issues. And I do love this cover by Rebecca Puebla, Belit as a silent film era starlet. It's just great. And then the Roberto De La Torre. And the final cover is this one by Liam Sharp, and it has Barry Windsor-Smith vibes. I just love it. Now, let's get into it. Doug Braithwaite's debut in issue number 5 of Conan the Barbarian from Titan Comics and Heroic Signatures. And here we go. I'll flip through the book, present a few close-ups of panels. I'll try not to read too much verbatim, but I'll outline the general plot and happenings. I want you to be curious and to grab your own copy. I want to give you a sense of how things look and to convey my excitement and a few summary thoughts. But be warned, if you want a pure reading experience, and I know you do, I would caution you about spoilers. If inclined, feel free to skip ahead to the conclusion. On the inside cover, we see the advertisement for the Funcom properties. Opposite that, credits for the teams at Heroic Signatures and Titan Comics. Again, introduction by way of the Numidian Chronicles and a quick summary of where things stand. After traveling east for many months in search of adventure, Conan and Samaria headed west to the port city of Argos. Running afoul of local authorities, the Sumerians stowed away on a trading ship, only for that vessel to be raided by pirates loyal to the Shemite captain Belit. Impressed by the barbarian's strength and spirit, the fiery queen of the Black Coast offered him a new life. At Belit's side, Conan found great passion and vast treasure, but it would not last. After his queen's tragic demise, the Sumerian now drowns his sorrows on the seedy streets of Shadizar, taking work as a route for a group of thieves calling themselves the Glory Hen. And in the first panel, Belit, and one of the best depictions of the Queen of the Black Coast in many years, Braithwaite immediately establishes an understanding of the character and his adventures in the Hyborian Age. This 3-page recollection of Conan's time aboard the Tigris with Belit is excellent. The pair's passion, a bloody duet, and here, her death foreshadowed. If you've not read Queen of the Black Coast by Robert E. Howard, well, it's a must. Conan's first and greatest love is something that many of the comic stories of Conan return to, and it also happens to be the topic of this month's essay by Jeffrey Shanks. A love stronger than any death, their whirlwind romance is deftly captured in these pages, climaxing with the Queen of the Black Coast's senseless slaughter. All the world's treasure now meaningless in her absence, we find our forlorn hero leagues deep in his ale. And we see Conan the Barbarian, thrice marked for death, Part 1, The Heist. And the introduction of the creative team, Grim Jim Zub, writer, Riotous Richard Starkings, letterer, Merciless Matt Murray, editor, and welcome aboard Diabolical Doug Braithwaite, artist, and Dangerous Diego Rodriguez, color artist. And speaking of Diego Rodriguez, I love Conan's decidedly blue eyes here and throughout the book. Conan is roused by Chandra, reminded they've got a job to do. Conan goes through the motions of his tasked violence, wanting only to return to drunken oblivion. In Shadizar, as a member of the Thieves Guild known as the Glory Hounds, Conan and company find their night is not yet through. The crew meet with Yakar the Found, and the details of their next job are revealed: to retrieve a dark, fine-cut stone called Taram's Touch from the Temple of Bel. The Glory Hounds, persuaded to accept by the promise of gold, agree to the venture. The Temple of Bel, god of thieves and trickery, an impregnable temple of death, a den of deceit, introduced here as a character in its own right. Just a wonderful 2-page spread. I'm a sucker for cityscapes. And here, an assessment of the temple's security, how to gain entry to the temple to complete the heist, a seemingly impossible task. All the elements of a great heist story. There is but one strategy: to gain entry as corpse bringers, those that provide human fuel for Bel's many foul rituals. The crew, well, they commandeer a carrion carriage. Hidden within the putrid wagon, they roll past the entrance and all its defenses, led through a tunnel to the moratorium. To leap into action, the Cimmerian earns his coin as muscle paid to fight. Entry gained, the thieves move on. They stealthily make their way through Bel's temple. I love these panels, the temple's occupants revealed, the austere, the perverse. They make their way until their destination is made clear. Heading to the tallest tower, they locate Taram's Touch. Conan is gripped by a sudden chill. Mother of Mitra. How I love Conan's consternation in this moment. This panel was just one of the many highlights for me, but it more than sold me on this issue. The rest of the guild oblivious to the danger as Conan recoils in horror as the sight of the black stone brings back a familiar nightmare, imploring his companion not to touch it. And as his companion touches it, Conan is told that there is nothing to fear. Meanwhile, in the background, foul specters are unleashed. And the next issue, marked by the dead. What an ending. And with that, we're introduced to Braithwaite's Conan. Following on the heels of Roberto De La Torre's destined to be legendary work, sure, no pressure, right? Well, I feel that he hit it out of the park here. A perfectly realized and familiar Conan, world-weary, having suffered the loss of Belit. His potential for violence always at the ready, even if his heart isn't in it. And the palpable fear upon seeing the stone. Everything perfectly illustrated in so much detail. Setting and mood enhanced by Diego Rodriguez's colors. Gotta love Conan's blue eyes. And Zub's heist story setup. All of it playing like a movie of the mind. I can't wait to see what's next. Following the story, an advertisement for the Bound and Blackstone trade paperback. And then on to Robert E. Howard and his Ages Undreamed Of, the essay series by Jeffrey Shanks. This time Shanks writes of the Queen of the Black Coast and Belit. And he says, not only considered one of the best Conan tales, it is also one of the few in which we get a glimpse into Conan's inner thoughts and philosophical motivations. Only Belit has the power to break through his stoic facade when she asks, "What do you believe, Conan?" Conan's response, "I know this. If life is an illusion, then I am no less an illusion, and being thus, the illusion is real to me. I live, I burn with life, I love, I slay, and I am content." Jeffrey Shanks finishes the essay. Sadly, the contentment would not last. With Belit taken from him far too soon, Conan finally faced a true existential crisis, one that, as we see in this issue, would take every ounce of his thirst for life to overcome. And then, in this issue, in place of the letters page, we have Diabolical Dialogues. It's a question and answer with Doug Braithwaite. I especially love the glimpse into Doug's creative process, and I love this. I'm constantly channeling iconic moments and imagery from past storylines to try and give the reader something special, and this is key to me. I always try to make them feel part of the story, and to make them feel like they're actually there in the moment, and in some ways give them a sense that they're watching a film as much as they're reading a comic. And to me, this was one of the successes of this issue. I did feel like I was watching a film as much as reading a comic. Moving on from there, we have the covers gallery. And on the back cover, an advertisement for the Heroic Legends series, a brand new short story from a new author every month. The first of these, of course, was Lord of the Mount by Stephen Graham Jones, and then Conan Black Starlight by John C. Hawking, and this month's release, Solomon Kane, The Hound of God by Jonathan Mayberry. I went into issue number 5 just happy to have a new Conan story. I thought I'd be a little apprehensive, cognizant of the change in artist and colorist, but upon starting the issue, any misgivings turned to excitement, and I immediately felt right at home. Let it be known, Doug Braithwaite can draw Conan, and his Belit may be the best in recent memory. He illustrates Conan with emotive subtlety, our forlorn hero, his loss worn on his sleeves. When engaged in violence, the make-work apathy feels apparent, his fear upon seeing the stone, marked and stricken. All of it with such detail, elaborated by Diego Rodriguez's colors, Conan's decidedly blue eyes throughout the book, and the atmosphere of Bel's temple brought to life. And on the Temple of Bel, I'm a sucker for illustrated cityscapes. I thoroughly enjoyed that 2-page spread. The temple truly becomes a character in the story, and I suspect that we'll see much more of it. When Conan and compatriots explored the temple, we were given only a surface glimpse of the goings-on, and we just know that beneath it all are things most disturbing. It was a wonderful setting for Jim Zub's heist story. And Zub's choice of a heist story was excellent. It's something familiar and engaging for the reader after potential exhaustion from the epic first story arc. We know the genre, and it just clicks, hitting every beat, and it comfortably launches us into the story that, by the ending, takes a completely different, though not fully unexpected turn. And I'll say again, Braithwaite's panel showing Conan's consternation upon seeing the stone, an absolute highlight for me. Looking at the creative team, I'd be remiss not to mention Richard Starking's lettering. The choices are always superb. They do such great service to this title. It just feels authentic. I've read some things recently where the choices don't stack up. Starking's work just elevates things. So, issue number 5, like the previous 4 issues, is again a wonderful outing from a team of exceptional talents, this time exploring that dark and brooding post-Belit era of Conan's life. We are left eagerly compelled to check out Braithwaite's work in issue number 6, hoping to see how he and Jim Zub might bring Belit to life in the next few issues, and to see what evil has been unleashed via the Thieves' Folly. Whatever happens, through the horror of it, we know events will shake Conan back to meaning, while also giving readers a little more insight into the mysterious Black Stone. The introduction of a new artist after Roberto De La Torre's work on Jim Zub's epic first arc was bound to generate curiosity and a certain amount of scrutiny. Just know this, Doug Braithwaite's superlative debut continues the series' excellence. Titan Comics and Heroic Signature's Conan the Barbarian continues to be the must-read series. Thanks for watching, liking, and subscribing. Let me know your thoughts on issue number 5. What were your favorite moments? How did you like Doug Braithwaite's artwork? I'll have more for you over the next little while, including a look at the Savage Shorts. And until next time, take it easy, you Stygian dogs.